A nice South Coast setting for what should be a fascinating early kickoff. Chelsea travel to Southampton, knowing a win for the Blues will take them to within a point of second place in the Premier League. What about that? Good morning and welcome to the start of the weekend. Nice early start actually on Matchday Live. I'm joined by Jason Cundy, Abby McCarthy and Savage Dan. Get the early morning in to start with, Jay, because it feels very, very different to saying good morning to you. But good morning, mate.
Good morning, guys.
Southampton are on a pretty dreadful run, like we alluded to in the play predictor thing earlier on. But they're a good side, aren't they? You know, they've got just one game since the turn of the year. They've conceded up 20 goals. Obviously, 9 of those were in one game against Man United. But in a strange way, does today suit them being not expected to get anything? Do you want a game like that when you're on a difficult run, or do you want an easy game?
I think you probably want an easy game, to be honest with you. But this is a Southampton side that have crumbled, literally, right in front of our eyes, because they are a good side. They've got some really good players. Ward-Prowse, don't give free kicks away. That's my first piece of advice to anyone, because he is as good as anyone that I've seen. And you know, outside the box, especially when it's at the nice angle for a right footer, do not give him any chance. And they've got Danny Ings up top, who's a goal scorer. You know, give him a chance, he'll put it away. He's been in good form, despite the fact that they are on this wretched run themselves. Walker Peters is missing. He's been excellent. You know, he went part of the deal, if you remember, to Spurs the other way with the Højbjerg deal. And I think Southampton's got probably a better deal, looking at it in all honesty. But Ralph Hasenhüttl, I found out today, has got the lowest success win rate at home for any Southampton manager ever. So you're talking about a team that's low on form, in particular at home. So I think this is a good time to play them. We've got to make sure that we get about them. And if we bring our A game, whatever they do, I think we'll have too much for them.
Abby, Jay's mentioned a couple of the, I suppose, the names to watch out for. But who do Chelsea need to be wary of today?
Absolutely, Ward-Prowse, his free kicks are just killer. Danny Ings as well. I mean, they're quite just a well-drilled, dynamic team, aren't they? You know, although they're in a pretty poor run of form, six games lost in a row now. I think they've won, from what I was looking at earlier, 2 in the last 13. So it's really not looking good for them. But they are that kind of team that can still switch it on, and they're going to be pretty desperate for a win today. So I think we've got to be careful. There's lots of players we need to watch out for.
If you're in a losing streak, play Chelsea.
Don't. That's our luck, isn't it?
We'll kickstart someone's season. How many times?
Stop it. Dan, it's a little bit different as well for us, because we're kind of setting the pace. Obviously, there was a game last night, Wolves and Leeds, but the early kickoff, usually it feels like the last sort of couple of weeks, especially, we've been waiting till the sort of dying embers of the Premier League weekend to see, and then we already know what we've got to do. So how much of a mental impact does that have, Chelsea setting the pace rather than playing catch-up on a weekend?
It's certainly going to put the other teams under a bit of pressure if we get 3 points and do it convincingly. You know, I don't think many of the teams above us a few weeks ago would have been looking over their shoulders, thinking about us. And now we're right on their tails. We get a win today. We go to within a point of United, and then we obviously play United soon. You know, when you're just looking behind you and you trip up on what's in front of you, you know, you never know. Us winning could cause a United crumbling. So, yeah, it would be beautiful. It really would. I think you said it, Jay, as well. I think you said, you know, we could play United and go ahead of them. You know, it seemed a bit weird a few weeks ago saying it, but look where we are now. So it's important we put in a good performance. Southampton on in great form. Still got danger all over the pitch, but I just feel like if Chelsea are at the races, this is a place that we do well at.
When you're at this stage of the season also, and you have that 12:30 kickoff, it's amazing how many times teams can stumble. You know, we've seen it with a lot. I remember Manchester United, it seemed last season, when they had to go ahead or put pressure, they always seem just to trip up. Because we do have that 12:30, we want to make sure we do put them under pressure. Dan's absolutely right. You want to make sure that teams start looking in their rear vision to wonder what we're doing behind. If we are to slip up today, we kind of let them off the hook, and it makes that game, or their games, I would say, perhaps a little easier. Just a little bit of information. I've just seen Reece James do his pre-match press conference, so that may well be, the way I look at it, an indicator that he does start.
Okay, well, we'll get team news from Lee Parker, who's at St Mary's for us very soon. But you know what to do by now. It's Play Predictor presented by Carabao Time. You can win a £100 Megastore voucher and a signed shirt if you top the leaderboard for today. All you need to do is get yourself to the fifth stand up and get your predictions in before 11:30. So you've got a couple of minutes. So make sure you go and get that done now to be in with a chance of winning. On Monday versus Newcastle, Chukwueku won from Nigeria with 80 points, which is a very, very good total. So here's what we've gone for tonight then. I've gone for a 2 tonight, this morning even. I've gone for a 2-0 Chelsea win. Jason's gone for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Abby has gone 3-0. Dan has gone 3-1. Dan, I'll start with you because we started with Jay a little bit earlier on. You've gone 3-1 today, mate.
Yeah, I'm just looking at momentum. I'm even on paper. You know, if games are won on paper, I would expect us to probably beat them 3-1. Form-wise, bring form into it. I'd look at it, probably suggest a 3-1 victory. So we were all right last week. We should have all gone with the same result again this week. But I just think we're going to have too much.
Thomas Tuchel, is that what you've gone for a shutout today?
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping another clean sheet. Also, I think I went 3-0 because I guessed it quite soon after the game against Newcastle where I was feeling pretty pumped. I think I was flexing in our WhatsApp chat that it was going to be a Werner hat-trick. I maybe need to calm it down a little bit, but I am feeling confident going into today's game. We're on great form. We're going to have a lot of confidence going into this game, whereas Southampton are going to be feeling really vulnerable. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get the 3 points in the bag. Fingers crossed.
Abby, you got the last one spot on. Back yourself.
That's yourself. True. That's it.
Jay, I want to start with Hot Topic 1 with you today, mate, because we've seen it, I suppose, over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so, about German football kind of setting the bar, not only in the Premier League, but in Europe as well. You know, you see the amount of German influence in terms of managers that are managed in the Bundesliga. Hasenhüttl, obviously, at Ingolstadt and RB Leipzig. Tuchel, obviously, at Dortmund. Likewise, Jurgen Klopp, Guardiola, Ancelotti. Even to the extent of Kai Havertz and Timo Werner coming into the Premier League. Bayern Munich seem to be rolling over teams and running away with everything at the moment. So when you look at leagues that, all kind of leagues, I suppose, have their time where they're the big influence in European football. When you look at it from an English perspective, you look at another league that are doing that. Are you keeping an eye on the players that are doing it, or are you kind of seeing this as, suppose, a trend rather than something to be stacked up against?
I think you find when there are successful teams and successful managers that come from a certain culture or a certain style or a certain country, I think it can become a bit of a trend, actually. I think Klopp has probably done that a little bit. We've seen influx of other managers, whether it be Spanish, Italian or whatever nationality it might be. Tuchel comes with a big reputation. He is, when you look at Germans, the way that they are like their cars, aren't they? Incredibly efficient. They're good to look at. You know, they work. And that's how it kind of feels to me a little bit, that the Tuchel has kind of brought that efficiency in. He's changed the shape of the team. Defensively, we're far more solid. We defend as a unit. We're very quick to get back and defend as a team. And we go forward as a team. And he's managed to implement and get his message across and change the shape really quickly. Really, really quickly. Look, we've got good players. We were in a false position when we were 10th when he took over, and we had one or two bad results and performances were really starting to tail off. We were better than that. And he's come in and he knows that. And then the rest, you know what, the rest of the league know that we are really a top four side. We just got to go out and prove it. And now we're starting to do that. And I love the way he's come in. I love the way he speaks. I like his persona. I like the way he is. You know, he seems one of those managers, he's got a smile on his face. The players, I don't know whether you saw, I guess you did. There was lots of stuff on the fifth stand after the game, the last couple of games. He goes out to the players, goes and greets them, you know, has a chat to them on the pitch. I like that. I like the way he's going about his work. And look, if he can do anything similar to what Klopp has done at Liverpool, we'll take that.
Absolutely right. Dan, like everything that Jay's saying there is bang on in terms of there seems to be Jurgen Klopp, I suppose, is the one that leads it in terms of, you know, he's brought this high intensity press. And again, it's not brand new to football, but it goes in cycles, doesn't it? You know, for a while, everyone was trying to play 900 passes out from the back under Guardiola, sort of trying to replicate that. Jurgen Klopp, I suppose, with the success that Liverpool have had, and even the success he had at Dortmund as well, with that high intensity, that high press. Julian Nagelsmann is the next big thing that I'm sure we'll see in the Premier League over the next couple of years. But when you look at players that are coming in from the Bundesliga, and there is this kind of Bundesliga influence in the Premier League, players like Timo Werner and Kai Havertz that will feel the effects of that in the next 10, 18 months once they're settled in, because there won't be too much of a disparity between the leagues when this influence is so sort of current, will there?
No, I still feel like the Premier League is the toughest, most competitive league in the world. We know that. But I think the Bundesliga is probably the one that is closest to it in terms of its competitiveness, in terms of the pace and how direct it is. And I remember the Prem kind of going through that 900 passes before you score a goal. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful, but it's very Spanish and it's not very Premier League like. We're quite known for being direct and for being fast and for being quite aggressive. So although it is still an adjustment for players coming from Germany, I feel like they will adjust faster than players that are coming from a different style of football. So I think regardless of what it looks like right now, I feel like eventually we will get the best out of Havertz and out of Werner and everyone that comes from the Bundesliga.
Just for the record as well, there is never a man that I've met that prefers a crunching tackle on the right back 3 minutes in than Savage Dan. So he's very much, he loves the different styles and the different parts of it. And I respect him enormously for that.
You've got to have it.
He loves it. We're joined by Lee Parker, who's at St Mary's for us. Lee, how are you, mate? You good?
Very well. Good afternoon, guys. How are we all?
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. What's it like down there today? Because we feel that the cold snap's gone now.
He says, wearing a massive scarf. It's actually, it's all right. It's a bit milder, but you get the sea breeze coming in across the docks. This is my old uni town, so I should be used to it. 3 years down here on the south coast. So, but no, a very pleasant day down here, mate.
It's a shame then for the lockdown rules, of course. Otherwise, they'd be welcoming you in. There'd be people lining the streets to welcome you home, Lee. But anyway, we know there was a slight delay in the Chelsea team arriving. But you've got the team news for us now, I believe.
I have indeed, and Thomas Tuchel makes 4 changes from the team that faced Newcastle. So Edouard Mendy comes back in goal. It's Azpilicueta, Zuma and Rudiger as your back 3. Reece James and Marcus Alonso as the wing-backs. Kanté, Kovacic in the middle. Mason Mount, Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham is fit and starts here today.
That's good news about Tammy as well, Lee, because I think we're all a bit concerned when he went off the other day. He looked in a lot of discomfort, but I know all of us will have been breathing a huge sigh of relief when we saw him training towards the end of the week. It's really good news that he comes in, but also probably a little bit tough on Olivier Giroud. Comes on, scores, and has to make play. But that's the kind of competition we want, isn't it?
Absolutely right. It was interesting talking to Thomas Tuchel yesterday. I said, what were your thoughts when you saw Tammy go down? He said, I had to look away. He said, I covered my eyes, thought the worst, but he said the medical team had worked day and night, as you'll hear later on when you watch the interview on the Fifth Stand as well. He said they worked day and night to get him fit. As you rightly said, he trained yesterday, came through, no pain, and thank goodness he's fit enough to start today.
Absolutely. Abby as well. Reece James coming in the right wing-back spot. We know how good Reece is. Like Jason said, maybe we got a little inkling about that 10, 15 minutes ago when he was doing the pre-match. But to bring in someone like Reece and be able to rotate him and keep him fresh and make sure he's got I know that he's never short of energy, but ensure that he's ready for a game like today. It's a huge bonus to bring someone like him in. Yeah,
absolutely. He always comes all guns blazing, doesn't he? With speed, lethal tackles. No one's getting past him. Those killer crosses into the box that we all love. So, yeah, excited to see him do his thing today.
Jace, Edouard Mendy coming back in goal in between the sticks. Obviously, Kerr started the last game. We were kind of discussing after the game as well about Thomas Tuchel. His interview after the game actually mentioned that Edouard Mendy was still his number one choice. I suppose now there's that competition for places in goal as well. So, there's a little bit of pressure on Mendy today, is there not?
Well, he came, didn't he, Tuchel, and said that there's going to be a clean slate where whoever's played in the past, forget that. I'm going to come in here now and I'm going to give you an opportunity. Kepa's done nothing wrong. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of work to do. A good save, if you remember that, against Barnsley, with it straight at him, but right place, right time. Mendy, there's been one or two moments in Mendy's game. In particular, I felt that the Sheffield United own goal, something like that was coming. I've seen too many times where Mendy leaves his box or is a little rash. Fulham away with Azpilicueta, the penalty against Everton. There's one or two others where I just want to make sure I see him communicate with his back 3 as it is now, a 5. And that's the way it should be. I want to see a settled number one. I don't like it when keepers keep coming in and out. So maybe this is Mendy's chance. Keep the clean sheet, keep things simple and make sure you do the simple things well and do your job well, then he should have that gloves. But just a reminder that Kepa's still very much involved.
Dan, obviously another big opportunity today as well for Kurt Zouma coming in for Andreas Christensen in the middle of the three. Thiago Silva, we know, is back in training as well, so we know that potentially there'll be 3 fit centre halves vying for one centre back spot. But again, the opportunity is with the person with the shirt, isn't it? When you're in command of that, you're the person that has the best opportunity to stake a claim. And if you do something right, you're gonna feel hard done by if you're not in the squad for the next game.
Yeah, and Zouma will probably feel himself a little bit hard done by. I feel like he's been one of our most improved players over the last season or so. He's been very reliable, lots of goals, last-ditch tackles, the lot. But obviously, in a 3 at the back, you usually would like a very comfortable ball-playing defender in the middle of that. It's not what Zuma's known for. He's known for kind of being, brute force and being brilliant in a tackle and his recovery. So it'll be interesting to see how that plans out today. But I'm impressed and I've been impressed in recent months with him. So I'm happy to see him back in the team. It's a good opportunity for him.
Lee, with Kirk, like Dan said, I think we'll all agree, and we've all seen the huge improvement from Kirk over the last 18 months. I mean, the fact that he was our joint top goal scorer for a long time. See, I made the claim on here, and I stand by it, to be fair. I thought he might get double figures this year. The way that he was going in terms of the goal return, it's in like every corner he was either scoring or coming very close to adding to his tally. But do you think maybe there's a little eye on Tuesday night as well? Because Atletico, we know, are a very different team to play. But when they've got someone like Luis Suarez up front, I suppose you can a little bit make a similarity with Danny Ings in the way that they want to play on the last shoulder, and it's going to be a different challenge. So maybe defensively we might be a little bit more sound, if not as comfortable in possession. Do you think that's maybe something that Thomas Tuchel's looking at?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting point, actually. I mean, again, we spoke to the manager yesterday. I asked him about Atletico, and he sort of, I guess, diplomatically said, not thinking about that yet, focusing on Southampton, and then we'll worry about that. But you're absolutely right. They obviously, the managers, especially at the top end, will look ahead and plan sort of games in advance. And I think there's also an element, I think, going back to what Jason was saying about giving everybody a chance, I think he's learning on the job, isn't he? I mean, games coming thick and fast. He's looking at different combinations, different players in different positions, and just sort of seeing what he's getting out of these high pressure environments, I guess.
Abby, we've not even mentioned N'Golo Kanté yet coming back into the middle, but I think again we've all seen N'Golo at his very best, and any team with N'Golo Kanté is a better team because of how good he is. But in that double six position with Jorginho on the bench today, it's a good opportunity because it's perhaps a different role that he's going to play. It's probably the 3rd or 4th different role he's been asked to play across this season, but it's an opportunity for him to really show what he's capable of and show what he can do.
Yeah, I think Jorginho and Kovacic have been working really well as the double six. So it's definitely a chance for Kanté to come in and, earn that spot again. And because he's Kanté, he's going to be brilliant, isn't he? We know that. We can be confident in that. So, yeah, excited to see him in a slightly different role today.
It's interesting, isn't it, Jay? Because when he played against Barnsley in there, he'd only just come back from injury, and he's struggled a little bit this season since Christmas or just after Christmas with the injury. So it's the first sort of Premier League game in this level that he's going to have started. But like Lee said, do you think maybe there's a little bit of learning on the job there because he knows that Kanté is going to be so important in the run-in? He needs to make sure that he's ready to step in when he does. Because like Abby said, you could argue that Jorginho and Kovacic have been sort of immovable between the two of them in the centre spot because they played so well.
Yeah, I think when you look at the 3 changes that have been made, or certainly the 3 ones I'm looking at Reece, coming in from Callum, I'm looking at N'Golo, I'm looking at Zouma, all far more defensively solid than the 3 that they're replacing. And I think he is looking at Atleti, in all honesty. I think this is a bit of a dress rehearsal or maybe a warm-up to have a look at that because of the way... I'm not saying that Atleti are this huge attacking force, but I think he wants to go into that game a little bit more armed. What can they do? All this, right down that spine, the difference you've got between Zouma, Dan's touched on it, between Zouma, Kerr, and Andreas and Jorginho and N'Golo, we're not talking about ball playing players there, are we? We're talking about something very, very different. So this is going to be a very different performance looking at it right now. Not saying they're not good players on the ball, because Kurt really what he wants to do is win it and give it to those ball playing players. He can use those other 2 centre halves. We've got 2 excellent wing backs that are very good on the ball. But interesting in that middle of the park, what N'Golo does. How is he going to play? What is his role? Because he can't do what Jorginho does. And Jorginho can't do what he does, but this is a very different, more solid-looking outfit. So, look, we know how good N'Golo is without the ball. With the ball, my advice to him would move it quickly, keep it simple.
Very interesting. Well, again, there's loads more build up towards Chelsea and Southampton. That is all for us for now. We'll be back shortly, of course. But first, let's hear what Thomas Tuchel had to say in his pre-match press conference ahead of today's game in full.
So you've given nearly every one of your squad minutes in your first 6 games in charge. Now your goalkeeper Kerr said he no longer feels afraid at Chelsea. Have you noticed an improvement in his confidence in recent weeks? Was he one of those players you felt maybe needed a fresh start?
Well, I encouraged him to see it as another opportunity and to take it as a fresh start and to see the possibilities for him in it, and this is what he did. So he earned his right to play. He earned his right to play another game. He had 2 clean sheets, and it's the best a goalkeeper can have for his confidence. And of course we see that because everybody like Kepa also loves to play, loves to have clean sheets. And it's important for us that the group of goalkeepers is strong together. This is what I feel from them, all 3. It's a strong bond, even if they are competitors to each other, but they have to be also a team within the team, and I feel that. And we need all of them ready because games are coming now on the highest level every 3-4 days. So we need everybody ready and to be in shape.
Ralph Hasenhüttl was somebody you know well. He said that he could see that Timo Werner, player he knows well, wasn't playing in the right position before you arrived. You seem to have got a bit more out of him just recently. Was he right, do you think, in his assessment of the player?
I didn't hear what he said, so everybody has the right of its own opinion. I think that Timo had a good start and a very clinical and very efficient start at Chelsea under Frank. I could not see any problem. In my opinion, it was even a big plus, and he was a big reason for Timo to join the club. That the connection to Frank. So I think that like every player is a change of clubs. Is always a change of environment, a change of culture, a change of the league. Takes its time. I can only speak right now, but this is hypothetical, and can only speak how I feel Timo, and I feel Timo day by day gaining confidence, and I saw the goal coming because he earned it, and is this maybe just luck that we both come from Germany, and he feels maybe these little percentages more confident than in the moments before or in the situation before. But for me, it was without a doubt when I watched Chelsea 1 week before I was asked. There was no doubt that Timo will come back from this situation because he has the quality, and it is a quality to play on more than only one positions, and it's like this.
You had a very successful opening few games in the job. Do you accept, though, that you'll perhaps learn more about your team in the coming weeks when you face Atletico and Manchester United?
Yeah, but honestly, I hope. I mean, we had when we played it was a big game against Tottenham, and the thing is that we do our stuff right, and we are brave enough to play our game and to impose our style and our momentum onto the opponents, and this is the thing that we want, that we play the same game no matter who's on the other side. Sometimes it feels super difficult to play Barnsley in a second league team, but on this day it was the hardest team to beat. Because it's always like this in football. So the challenge is now to be ready tomorrow, and after tomorrow we will see what we do against Atletico and then Man U and Liverpool. But it's step by step, and the thing is, how good are we? It's always a test. How good are we at the moment when we play to impose our principles and to impose our style and to be the squad with the intensity and the rhythm, to dominate the rhythm and to put intensity on the pitch. And this is the challenge for tomorrow. And then it's the next challenge in Champions League, and then again in the league. And it's all the time when you play is the biggest challenge. So the focus is on Southampton. And I truly believe that I learn a lot about my team in every game, no matter who's on the other side, because we respect all opponents. And in the moment of the game is the toughest opponent, the guys who are on the other side. And that's it.
Sam at PLP.
Hi Thomas, nice to see you. I know you spoke after the Newcastle game saying that Edouard is your first choice goalkeeper, but
yeah.
How close is Kepa to challenging for that number one position?
I don't know, and nothing has changed, and Edu is the number one, and he deserves to be the number one, and this is a sensitive position where you need to be clear, and you cannot hide your opinion in press conferences or in of course not in the dressing room. Things have to be clear, and you cannot be afraid of it, and we are not, and so things have not changed. But like I said, we need 3 strong goalkeepers, and we need everybody ready. Everybody ready, because the rhythm is high, because the challenges are high, the goals to achieve are high in this club. We need everybody, not only 3 goalkeepers, we need all 20, 21, 22 guys in the field to be ready now. Whatever is needed. If we need them 5 minutes, you have to be ready for 5 minutes. If we need them from the beginning, it's from the beginning, half time. If you have a bad decision, you're not in the squad, maybe next time we need you, you have to be ready. This is the topic for the next weeks, and this includes Kepa. And I can only repeat myself, Kepa did 2 good matches, he had 2 clean sheets. This is the best he can have for his confidence, but it's also what we expect from him. The best performances, and nothing has changed. Edu is number one.
Simon Stone, BBC.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
It's been very a lot of matches and difficult, I would imagine, for you to work with the players. What have you learned in your short time at the club so far, and how will that help you going into this period with the Champions League?
I experience incredible work ethic from the players. They are hungry, they are eager to improve, eager to compete. They are hungry to compete as a team. This is the most important. I feel them all together as a group. We can totally rely on them, that we play our principles in the game, that we are reliable to the things we decide, how to approach games. This is the most important. And if we have less time on the training ground, we work in the media room, we work in video sessions, and we prepare the games, and we use the games to improve, and we use the games to get used to each other. But there are so many good behaviors, so many good signals, so many good minutes, and in our games, that is a pleasure to work with, and is a very, very good level from where we want to improve, because this is the challenge in top sports, to improve every day, to take every day carefully, and to appreciate every day on the training pitch or in the games, and to use it for improvement. And this is the feeling that I absolutely have, and where I'm 100% involved, and this makes me happy, because this is why I'm coach.
Do you trust them already?
For sure, there's no reason not to trust them. They delivered from the first minute that we are here. Like I said, it's not only trust because of results, it's trust because of how we interact, how they behave every day, here in Cobham, out on the training pitch, and in situation under stress. That means in the games. And there is no reason not to doubt them. From now on, we try to improve, we try to push, we try to guide them, and I feel totally included in that process, and I feel a very strong bond between the players. And I can only repeat, this is a pleasure to be here, a pleasure to work with the guys. This is why I became coach.
Nick Purell, PA.
Hi Thomas, you must be relieved about Tammy avoiding a serious injury, because obviously you said you were worried. And I just wondered about Fikayo Tomori. Frank Lampard always said he had a long-term plan for Tomori to come back and make it long-term at Chelsea. I just wonder, is he in your plans for the long-term too? Obviously he's on loan at the moment, but would you like to see him back at Chelsea in the long-term?
To be very, very honest, right here, I did not spend too many minutes thinking about Tomori, not because I don't like him, not because I don't see his potential, but there was simply no time. So every minute I spent here in Cobham was the minute for the guys who are here. It's tradition in Chelsea that many players are on loan and get minutes somewhere else when they cannot make it to regular minutes in here. This is good because it is always the target for me to have players who can make it in different circumstances, who can show their qualities in different cultures and different clubs. This is always a good sign. So we will have this talk in the next weeks and months about all the guys who are abroad, about all the guys who are on loan. But of course, I have a general impression of Tomori, which means that he has of course high potential. But I'm not into details right now. This will come when time comes for that.
Last two in this section. We're going to start James Ollie and then last one Jerry Cox. James.
Hi Thomas, it's sort of a two-parter on Christian Pulisic if I can. You mentioned he's got another small injury problem.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard talked about some concerns about managing his fitness because of his history with injuries. Is that something that you're wary of? And also there's been some speculation this week about whether he could maybe leave the club in the summer. Do you see his future at Chelsea?
Yeah, today clear yes, but it's not only my point of view, we have to see, but for me clearly yes. Because Chelsea bought Christian for a reason, for his quality, for his potential, and it's our job to bring out the best in him. He proved in many weeks that he has the level to be a Chelsea regular player, to have a big impact in this club. It's a challenge now to hold this level, to improve, and to maintain the level and to keep improving. We are not concerned, we are not worried, but physical department, medical department is on that. Now we have little issues in the calf. He stopped training yesterday before it becomes an injury. So I would not say that it's an injury. It's in the moment it's a risk management to not be even injured. That relies to his history of having injuries, so we do not want to enter in the same cycle. It's sometimes like this, and the main thing for Christian is to stay positive, keep the head up, and like I said before, be ready, because he can have a big impact when he starts, and he can have a big impact when he comes from the bench with his intensity. And there are absolutely no decisions made for summer. There's simply no time for that in the moment. And this is not the moment now, and there is today no need to think about Christian.
Last question, Jerry Cox.
Morning, Thomas.
Hi.
A lot of fans are wondering about Hakim Ziyech. He's not getting a lot of game time. Is it because he's not 100% fit, or is it perhaps Callum Hudson-Odoi is doing a great job on that side?
It's my fault, actually. It's not his fault. It's my fault. It's my decisions. It's my hard decisions in the moment for Mason, for Callum, for Christian sometimes, and on the half positions where we see him the strongest. It's the same for Hakim in the moment, and for some other players. There were some hard decisions to make. This is a good thing. It's never easy, but it's a good thing because that means we have quality to make hard decisions. There are some decisions for other players. That means Hakim suffers a little bit from these decisions in the moment. I can absolutely understand and absolutely agree with that. So it's my responsibility and my fault in this case that he cannot show more of his potential. But when I look at the rhythm, when I look at the schedule for the next day, we can be sure that we need all of our players. The squad is not too big, and no matter how hard times for you personal I cannot say one bad thing for Hakim. He had a good training session yesterday. He's working hard. He needs to show that he's ready, because when the moment comes, and I cannot tell you now when the moment comes, but when it comes, we expect the best Hakim Ziyech, and this is not easy. I can absolutely agree and understand and admit, but this is how it sometimes is during some moments. It can be in a club like Chelsea, with a squad that keeps winning and was a little bit out of that squad that started winning. Sometimes you have to wait. He's not the only guy who suffers from these decisions, and things will turn around if he takes care that he is in shape, if he takes care that he is in the right mood, if he takes care that he's ready when he's needed. Things will turn around again, I'm sure.
Mighty dollar in the mighty tower of the trap. This is a brother son. Tapa got the Maserati dancing on the bridge. Finish. Hello, this is Antonio, and this is my 90 seconds about music. My go-to song is from Burna Boy, Waiting Man Go Do. No, I think music is to me based on like rhythm, beat. More, not like lyrics. Oh, who will you watch live? Travis Scott, because like his concerts are like very live. There's many. Like there's songs from Travis Scott. There's some songs from Afrobeat artists. There's a lot.
What's your stage name?
Like when I would be in a group, 44 Boys, because that's the place where I grew up. The number is 44, and I would call it like this. I would like to be the dancer there. Yes, at the moment it's like from Burna Boy, Waiting Man Go Do, like in the beginning. It was from Lil Wayne, Amile. I'm a millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire, tougher than Nigerian hair, my criteria compared to your career, this isn't fair. I'm a venereal disease, pimp so elite, of the tapping in my mind, cause when my second minutes, I was gone to the mighty dollar in the mighty tower of the trap. This is a brother son, Tapa got the Maserati dancing on the bridge. Finish.
Football has always been about numbers. Second in sight, 6 unbeaten, and 11 trusted with a task of winning 3 points. This is the side that Thomas Tuchel has selected for Chelsea today. In goal, Edouard Mendy, a back three captained by Cesar Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma and Antonio Rudiger, Reece James, Marcos Alonso, N'Golo Kanté and Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount, Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham. On the bench, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Andreas Christensen, Jorginho, Olivier Giroud, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ben Chilwell, Hakim Ziyech, Billy Gilmour and Emerson. Our one to watch for today is the captain, Cesar Azpilicueta. Lee, I know that you've been interviewing Thomas Tuchel this week and he spoke very, very highly of Cesar.
He certainly did. Interesting you used the phrase about numbers, because we were talking earlier, weren't we, about the amount of managers that Aspie's played under. Thomas Tuchel is 8th in 9 years. And I think it's quite telling, isn't it? Every manager has such a high opinion of Aspie. If you go all the way back to Jose when he came back, Aspie dislodged Ashley Cole in a Champions League. I think it was Schalke, and he played him at left back. And since then, every manager sees something in Aspie. And Thomas Tuchel was speaking about his leadership qualities. He likened him to John Terry, Frank Lampard. He said, when I was at Paris, I had the Brazilians at the back, it's Silva, Marquinhos. And he said, now I have Aspie and Silva and Jorginho and Kanté. So he couldn't speak highly enough of him.
Jace, it must be such a refreshing thing for a manager to come in and see someone like Cesar Azpilicueta in the dressing room, because you go, I know that he's going to be. It feels like it's not a positive, but it certainly is in terms of saying how reliable he is, how much you can just go to him and you know that whatever it is, whether it's an on the field matter, an off the field matter, whether it's playing a different role, a different system, a different position, he is so adaptable and he is so important to anyone coming in, whether it be a player or a manager, isn't he?
Yeah, I think when you've been here that long and every manager plays you, I think it tells you a little bit about what the player is and who he is. You're absolutely right. He's incredibly adaptable. He's hung around. I remember doing this show last season and the emergence of Reece James. And I remember saying, Aspie's not going to give that shirt up easily. We all expected Reece to really have a go and play many games, and he has and will and continue to do so. But Azpilicueta's built of strong stuff. He's incredibly competitive. He's a lovely guy, as Lee's already alluded to. They're a really nice chat. But boy, is he competitive, and he will not give up that shirt. And he's a brilliant boy to have around the ground. His all-round persona. He's incredibly personable, friendly, but he's incredibly, when you're in the pitch, he is a team player, and he's great to have in your ranks, and you want him alongside you. So we're very lucky to have had him for as long. And there's a big debate range. I don't know if you've seen it on social media. Is Azpilicueta a Chelsea legend? Well, he's won so much. Pretty much won everything except for the Champions League. Is this year? Who knows?
Oh, mate, I completely with you. I think we'll all absolutely say that's not a debate. 100% he is a Chelsea legend for what he's done, over 400 appearances for the club, everything he's won, absolutely. Abby as well, Jace touched on it there about him, and Lee's mentioned as well how much of a nice guy he is. But something that caught me as well, especially over lockdown, in the first lockdown over the summer, before we had Project Restart, etc., how much he was doing as club captain in terms of speaking to people in the community. He was doing Zoom calls. He was doing quite a lot. He was communicating with the players to make sure they were okay and in the right sort of headspace. I think that doesn't get reported outside of the club. No one that's not on the ticker tape at the bottom of a news channel, etc. But what he does is a lot more than just being a footballer. And I think that's so important when you've got someone that's a leader, as he is, in terms of wearing the armband. He's much more than just a football player.
Yeah, I think that's why he's the perfect leader. He just goes above and beyond, doesn't he? Whether it's work in the community or on the pitch, you can just depend on him time in, time out. What I love, and obviously now with, the downside, obviously, no crowds in the stadiums, which we're all missing. But you can hear him, can't you? Being vocal, bossing people about, getting people in line. Like, he leads by example, and yeah, he's a brilliant captain, and without a doubt, a Chelsea legend.
Oh, completely. And exactly what Abby's just said there, Dan, in terms of the impact he has. I think it was West Brom away, was it, when we were 3 down at half time and Frank brought him on, and you think on paper you go, bring on a defender at 3-0 down, but immediately the intensity, the tenacity, the tempo that he brings, the leadership qualities, and he demands so much. And again, this is a player that has an enormous amount of assists but beside his name as a footballer, but many people think of him sort of as a fullback that doesn't cross the halfway line. I think the perceptions go before Cesar Azpilicueta and don't really do him justice about how good a footballer he is.
He's got pretty much everything, Joey. Like, he is a defender first and foremost that does not want to be beat. He really will do everything he can to not get beat. I remember doing a job at Stamford Bridge, and that was Hazard was there then, and all the players are coming in and out, but he came and he felt like a captain. He felt like the adult almost, like somebody who he is the one responsible for all of these players. He really did feel like a captain, and he was late because he was doing meditation actually, and that told me pretty much everything I need to know. He's somebody who's he's just a professional. He wants to make sure his body is in the right condition. I imagine it's lights off at 10 p.m. and he takes this job very, very seriously. He loves Chelsea, and he wants to make sure that he is always at 100% of firing on all cylinders, and probably one of the biggest and best bargains Chelsea have ever had.
Yeah,
£8 million.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's staggering, isn't it? And Lee, just on that, because Dan mentioned about his leadership quality and the aura that sort of surrounds him as a player. You'll have seen hundreds of Chelsea players during your time there. Is there anyone that stands out straight away? You go, I know he will be a manager one day, because I really get that impression with Cesar.
A very good point. It's interesting, Dan, referring to him as a grown-up. You'll forgive me for sheepishly looking over my left shoulder, because he was right behind me. And if anyone's going to ping a ball at me, it's going to be him. He has a very mischievous sense of humour, as well as being, like you rightly said, a leader on and off the pitch. And I think it's a very good point. And you touched on the work that he did throughout lockdown as well. He really does wear his heart on his sleeve, and he takes that armband so very, very seriously. But you're spot on. I think you're absolutely right. He has shown those leadership qualities. And we've sort of spoken at length before about the dressing room that he walked into back in 2012. You think about the leaders in that group that he learned from, and he's still here. And he's now one of those leaders. And I think you're right. And I think Abby's point about how vocal he has been as well. Frank Lampard used to speak about him and Ollie Giroud. And if they weren't starting, they weren't playing, they would be the voices you would hear. at Stamford Bridge, sitting in the press box near to the dugout. You can hear them shouting, cheering them on. And I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. Lee, I'm going to let you go, mate, so you don't get a ball in the back of the head from Aspi after we've given him such lovely praise. Thank you very much, mate. Enjoy it again. We'll speak to you in a bit. Nice one, pal. Obviously, since Thomas Tuchel has taken charge, Aspi has been a very much a part of this. We've conceded just once in 6 matches. Jason has had a little look at how we've become so solid.
The one noticeable thing about Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea is the clean sheets, 6 games and just that 1 goal conceded, and that was an own goal, so an opposing player has yet to score against Thomas Tuchel. Okay, so why is that? Well, the obvious starting point would be the change in shape, the wing-backs. Chilwell on this occasion, Rudiger coming across, and the numbers in the box, in particular, I've been impressed with Kovacic and Jorginho. We're a big physical side, not just winning the first ball, but also Alonso winning that second ball. We essentially defend in numbers. We attack with 5 players going forward and defend with 5, but without the ball, we actually defend very well. We had numbers flooding back. You can see there that Werner has got back in a defensive position. This illustrates it perfectly. Every single Chelsea player back defending. Mason Mount doing his job. Kovacic and Jorginho nice and close together. The back 3 nice and tight. The wing backs coming around. And we're very difficult to breach. Again, look at the bodies back, closing down. And again, that physicality of the side, evidence there with the 3 centre-halves, Alonso and Reece James. On the odd occasion we do get breached. Look at those numbers flooding back, and have a look at the top of your screen. Callum doing his defensive job, ensuring that he gets back and defends well. So it's a simple numbers game for me. We defend as a team, and we get back if on the odd occasion we get breached. And defensively, as a unit, we have been outstanding.
Our hot topic 3 for today is a winning side starts with a strong defence. I mean, there's a very famous Sir Alex Ferguson quote, which I'm sure we're all very aware of, which is attack wins you games, but defence wins you titles. And it does feel very much like that's the starting block for everything. Jay, I mean, the analysis you've done there is bang on in terms of it, but just how important is that Thomas Tuchel's got that idea and that shape as quickly as he has?
Well, it's been quite impressive, hasn't it? The way that he's got his message across. He's completely changed the shape. We've seen Callum come in and play right wing back. That's not a natural job for him to do defensive work, but you probably remember the chance that Wolves had. I think it was Dendoncker that broke away, and he recognised that and got himself back. One thing I've really noticed is when there is a transition, and perhaps we are out of position, the way we flood back in numbers, that's a real feature. You can see that he wants bodies behind the ball as quickly as possible. And those numbers, if you break really quickly on us, you better break quick and you better keep it, because we're going to get back in numbers. And when we defend at times with everyone. Some of the clip I did there away at Spurs, every single Chelsea player was back inside our final third. So we're making life difficult. There's numbers. We're quite a physical side now. We've seen Alonso come in. You look at our 3 centre-halves. You've now got Alonso. You've got Reece James. Physically, that back 5, that's a big, strong, physical back 5 that we've got. Maybe not so in the middle of the park, but the one thing I've really noticed about our defensive work is the guys in the middle, the 2 6s, you like, they're closer together. There were and have been huge gaps, and there's been moments where it's been too easy to get in beyond that our midfield into our back line. But that seems to have tightened up. And defensively, I've been impressed with Jorginho, I've been impressed with Kovacic, and we all know what N'Golo can do. But also as well, I've seen Mason Mount drop into those areas. I've seen, and Werner drop into those areas. I've seen Tammy drop into those areas. So as a unit, we defend very, very well. And he's got that work ethic that everyone, without the ball, everyone becomes a defender. With the ball, everyone becomes an attacker.
Abby, as a fan, like Jay's saying there, when you see every player buying into the system, every player wants to fight for every ball, like you said, they're tracking forward and back, and every player's playing a part. That gives you an extra 10% as a fan, doesn't it, as well? Because you can see physically how much the players are working and how much they want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's work rate under Tuchel has been incredible. I think it feels like we're a really cohesive unit. As Jason already touched on, you've got people like Tammy Abraham doing a goal line clearance. You've got Mason Mount tracking back and putting in that tackle that kills their line of attack. So everyone is putting in the work. And as you say, as a fan, it's just a joy to watch. I think the Chelsea that we're watching right now is very exciting.
Dan, it does feel a little bit, the more and more, since Jay's mentioned it before the game, it does now feel very much like today could be a little bit of a dress rehearsal in terms of how we're going to set up against Atletico on Tuesday night, especially with Reece James at right back and N'Golo in the middle there, potentially, very aware that Atletico can cause us problems going forward. But I suppose when we keep using the caveat of we've not really been tested yet, we played Spurs, but they didn't have Harry Kane. We've not had it come up against a team that are rampant scoring goals for fun. But it gets to a point where you go, we have played 6 games. We've played 6 games and we've not really been tested. That goes more down to how well Chelsea is setting up as opposed to how well the opposition are playing against us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like we are learning the system very, very well. And, it's hard for me to watch Chelsea as a fan anymore. When I watch, other games as a neutral, I watch as a fan. When I watch Chelsea, I almost watch as a manager. It's almost as if I'm, playing Football Manager, because I am more impressed with a 1-0 shutout victory than a 6-2 win. That's a bit of a shootout. So I feel like 3 at the back, we look very secure. We also look like in the transitions that we moved that ball very fast, and Jorginho and Kovacic seem to get on that ball a lot and drive with it and really cause some damage. Mason Mount on a half turn, and it seems to be a lot more space all over the pitch for some reason. So, look, I love the defensive side of the game, and I feel like not the deeper we defend, but the better we defend for whatever reason, it sets up our attacks better and faster. We're really hurting teams now. We're creating a lot of chances, having a lot of shots and attempts at goal. So, onwards and upwards. I'm enjoying right now being a Chelsea fan.
Absolutely right, mate. Well, it's quite a happy hunting ground for Chelsea, to be fair. I haven't tasted defeat since 2013, and we have scored some absolute stunners against the Saints over the years as well. So here's some of our favourites.
Lampard, Drogba, into Good Johnson again. That'll do it for Chelsea. Beautifully worked goal. Good Johnson second, and Chelsea now surely a home and dry.
That's a lovely ball from Fabregas to Hazard. He's got no support at the moment. He might have to go it alone. Friends are arriving now. Hazard goes for goal and finds it. Absolutely brilliant. Chelsea needed an equaliser. Eden Hazard has provided.
Trezeguet the right fullback leads the charge. Oh, lovely goal! A touch of class from Dan Trezeguet. Nicely done by Mitso. That's a good ball. Hughes on the volley. Only ever one result. The most reliable volley of a ball in British football.
Great take from Hazard, and he's helped it on. Here's the chance for Giroud. He's dribbled it through. It's absolutely brilliant. Olivier Giroud in front of the Chelsea fans. What a start to the second half at Wembley. Half a minute played. Chelsea 1, Southampton 0.
I still don't know how Olivier Giroud stays on his feet during that as well, by the way, with a little weave in the FA Cup semi-final. Unbelievable goal. Unbelievable. Southampton are obviously going to pose a different threat for us today, Jay. They've not done very well recently. I think that's fair to say. Lost 6 for the first time in their history. 9-0, obviously, to Man United a couple of weeks back. But, we say that, and yet they've still got Danny Ings, James Ward-Prowse, and players that can hurt you and players that can harm you. So they are a side that we need to be very wary of today.
Do you know, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me why they have performed so badly, what the results. And you would say performed badly. Look, take away the Man United one. That was a disaster. They went down to 10 men. Man United have got good players and their spirit was broken pretty much straight away after that penalty. And, of course, they went down to 10 men. But I look at them as a side. They've got good players. Romeo in the middle of the park is we know that. Ward-Prowse. I like Redmond. Redmond can cause you problems. Defensively, I love the 2 centre halves and Bednarek and Vestergaard. The keeper's decent. We know what Bertrand can do. I look at that and think that shouldn't be a team that's lost 6 on the spin. It shouldn't be. So I go into it with my eyes wide open, knowing this is a better team than the results and performances have shown lately. And I think we need to be wary of that and show them the respect that they deserve, because they can and have and proven this season caused big teams big problems. They were top of the table not that long ago. So I think we need to bear that in mind. But I go back, I seem to say it a lot. If we turn up and our players bring the sort of performance that we know they can deliver, we will have too much for them. It's as simple as that. But there are changes, The Zuma's coming into a back three. How's he going to adapt to that? What sort of performance are we going to see? Because at times, Kerr can be a little nervy on the ball in the middle of the park. Are they going to press high? They tend to, Southampton. They might put pressure on Kerr, put pressure on N'Golo. We might find it difficult to play our passing game. So the first 10 minutes will be fascinating to see what they do, if they are going to press, or are they going to try and just maybe contain and sit and ease their way into the game.
Dan, just on Kurt Zouma as well, do you think maybe he's been brought in because notoriously Southampton are a very good set piece? We know about James Ward-Prowse. He's got 4 direct free kicks he scored this season. He's only one behind the Premier League record for most direct free kicks in a season already. He's got, 10 games to go. His numbers are ridiculous. But in terms of even not just scoring free kicks, but his delivery from set pieces in general, Jay's mentioned Vestergaard and Bednarek, and Salisu's come in as well. He's 6+ as a defender. They've got Romeu, who's got to be 6+ as well. So from corners and set pieces, do you think maybe Kurt's been brought in to perhaps deal with that a little bit more as well?
Yeah, perhaps. We've heard Tuchel talk about our squad beforehand being quite slender, and not big. And when we're playing against teams that have aerial threat, he likes to have enough aerial threat in our team to be able to combat it. So yeah, look, anything around the box, not even near the box, just from wide areas, Ward-Prowse is going to probably put it on a sixpence. So we have to definitely be careful when giving away these free kicks. But hopefully, Zouma is able to deal with these crosses and kind of nullify their threat. So yeah, it probably is one of the reasons he's in. And also he hasn't played much in the Tuchel era. So we want to get him minutes. He's still a quality defender.
Absolutely. Abby, I've been saving this for you because it's kind of the final thought of the show, and it's going to be a big run up to kick off. Now, you've been saying it all week, and you've shied away from it a little bit about the fact you're backing Timo Werner for a hat-trick. I'm with you 100%. So this is your chance for a little bit of a rallying call to talk us through Timo Werner's hat-trick today. Okay,
is Timo watching? Timo, You've got this. No, I just think he was definitely in his head a lot, wasn't he, before he managed to end the goal drought. Now that he's done it, I think he's going to want to prove himself even more and go on a bit of a run. And if you look at his kind of performances at Leipzig and stuff, he often went through patches of scoring loads, then not, and then getting back in it. So I'm hoping we're very much, hopefully, going to see lots of Werner goals. I'm backing him. Come on, we've got to get behind him.
And again, Abby was bang on against Newcastle, so there is no reason to doubt. I'm backing you 100% as well, Abby. Right, thank you very much for joining us. That is all from us for now. Before we join our commentary team, Lee caught up with the boss as he looks ahead to facing the Saints.
Thomas, first of all, Southampton, an exciting game in prospect. You know Ralph Hasenhüttl well. What do you like about him and the way that his teams play football?
About him personally, I can say that he's a super nice guy. We don't know, we're not friends, but he was